So how are you, Y25? Good spirits? Okay, we'll find out. Okay, so we have this today on Saturday because I wanted you to relax, right? In fact, this whole course is to, after all that heavy maths and physics, right? So that will be a class to be yourself and relax, right? So that's needed, right? Okay. All right. So first, what I am going to do this, normally we don't meet like this. We'll meet in the whole semester maybe 3 times or 4 times here for some big issues. But today is not a big issue. Today is only an introduction, all right? And why is that, I'll tell you. Okay. So first 40 minutes or 45 minutes I'll speak. Of course, you can also interject. And then we'll have a full Q&A on anything under the earth or heaven, right? So you could ask me anything. That's after I have spoken for, or we have a discussion for 40 to 50 minutes, all right? So that can continue a little longer, okay? Depending on how many questions you ask me, or how do you feel today. All right, so this is a course, and I'll introduce you by telling you what we do in this course. You have already seen the FCH, the first course handout of this course. You already have registration in Academy. One is main course and the other in the section course, correct? You know your section number? All right, okay. So, and you will find out the location also soon, all right? So I'll tell you how does this course operate, because it's a very different kind of course, all right? And then I'll tell you what this course is not, okay? Okay? And then I'll tell you something of what this course is about. And then, as always, professors, I'll end with some advice, all right? So that's what I'm going to do over the next 40 minutes. And most of the advice is not new. You would have all heard, but I will reiterate some of that, okay? You have been attending orientation program, quite intensive one, right? So was there something on ethics or integrity in that? Was there a session? Or you just sign a form without reading it, right? Okay, so anyway, all right, so let's settle down. Everybody, actually if everybody is there, there should be no seat free in this hall, okay, because we are almost 6:42. Okay. All right, so rules of engagement, because it's such a large class, we'll have to have rules, right? So I'll ask questions sometimes. Please only raise hand, don't speak, till you are asked. That's school, right? A good school, right? Okay. I might use Academy today also. Have you kept your Academy open? Very good. All right. Of course, you have to suppose to use Academy only for, or phone for Academy, and nothing else, okay? Not today, but in any other class, if you do it, your phone might go to some other place, right? Okay. Okay. And please keep your phone on silent. I don't want a tring in between, okay? Your parents might be worried, right? On Saturday, they might call you, okay? So don't do that. All right. So let's say, most people say that it is the intellect which makes a great scientist. They are wrong. It is character. This is a quote. Now, who could have said this? Hands up. Yes? He's saying probably Einstein. You have so much confidence in him, huh? Right. Okay. So people would agree? Could it be Einstein? He deserves a chocolate. Right? All right. That is indeed Einstein. Okay. I wanted it, I'm using some argument. I'm using the argument of, I'll come that later. Then, practical. This course has a adjective called practical. Ethics, we have some idea, but what is practical ethics? Right? So, here is a cartoon which the professor or the boss of the company says, we have created a code of ethics that is very easy for you to learn and remember. It contains only 3 words. Always act ethically. Right? That's the code of conduct. We need to go a little beyond that. Okay? Saying that always act ethically is not good enough. Right? What does it mean? Some of this course might give you a sense of that. Okay, the team of instructors. Probably it's a unique course, maybe in the world itself, that an ethics course in which how many instructors are there in our team? I am only their spokesperson. There are 25 of them. And where are they from? And which departments? Okay, that's math, HSS. I don't want to call out the names if, okay. At the moment they might be all there, you will meet them. Chemistry, BSB, every department. That's how seriously we take. Right? So we have from every department of the institute instructors in this course. Okay? Why is that? Ethics is not preserve of any particular discipline. Right? You learn how to in many courses, but how to live, how to be human is common to all of us, no matter which discipline that we come from. All right? And of course, we like to have people, you speaking to people who have an experience of being an academic, of being professional in your disciplines. Right? So that's the reason we have, where am I? Here. Okay, so these locations, I think TB stands for tutorial building. You are familiar with already. You have had a tutorial. Some you may not be, but these days Google help you, right? Locate it. So for the first class, people who have on Tuesdays, you have to be sure that reach on time. Okay? All right. So I will not go through the full list, though if I had time, I would have liked to introduce all of them. Okay, so team of instructors are there. But first, let me tell you what this course is not. Quite often we do that, right? Instead of telling what this course is, we can find out what this course is not. In fact, some of the things that I'll speak today, we will not have a chance to speak later. So maybe I should do it today, right? Because in this course, we don't have a chance to speak of many things which are important, but we don't want you to load with things. This is a course in which you are supposed to relax, right? This course is not about a traditional ethics course in which we study what other people have said about ethics. That's a lot, right? But in every culture, for thousands of years, maybe 10,000 of years or 5,000 of years, in every culture, every country, people have worried about ethics. You're aware of that? And they have deeply worried about it. Some of the best minds, okay, of human civilization have worried about ethics. And I told you, why is that? Because this is about how to be human, how to live. And that's been a question all through. All right? So let's go through. Does anybody recognize this? Anybody? this photograph of course is some artist conception, right? So anybody who would recognize this? No. Raise hand. Rule of engagement, don't say, raise hand. You have already answered one, yes. Maharshi Ved Vyas. Anybody else? Which hand is that? Oh, okay. So I want a student, yeah. Yes. Sorry? Are you from Tamil Nadu? Non-Tamil Nadu. I want a hand which is not from Tamil Nadu. I'm surprised. See, that's what, we don't know our heritage, okay? He is probably one of the greatest ethicists, okay, in human civilization. Yes, Tiruvalluvar. Now, can anybody, now open to even people from Tamil Nadu, what was the work? Somebody, what was the work he's famous for? Yes. Sorry? Tirukural. So I can't reach the chocolate to you, but please collect your chocolate at the end of the lecture. All right. Tirukural. These thousands of verses, I don't know, thousands of verses. And exactly the time is probably not known, right? But, and this is not with any particular religion, but everything about living on your own, living in society, governing the society. He has volumes and volumes of it. And as in India, mostly in couplets, right? So now you said Veda Vyas, right? Maharshi Veda Vyas. And this one? Valmiki. All right. So these are the sources that normally has given us our, we have not gone through a ethics course, but we have lots of it already, right? The way we have grown up. So ethical principles are in the air, okay? We breathe in and breathe out. We know them, but to what extent we live, I'm not sure. That is what is practical is about. The question is knowing ethical principles and living them is very different, right? But our heritage has, I just mentioned 3, but it's, okay, especially in the Indian subcontinent had many, many of them who have worried about and have written about, not just that, they have lived the life that they preach, okay? All right, anybody, who is this? I'll not ask. Yes? Confucius, a cow king, yeah, right. So I just went from India to China, little bit. Who is this? Yes? Lao Tzu, yes, Dao Jing, okay, Dao Jing Tin. You get a chocolate at the end, right? Okay. So these are people who have really influenced ethical thinking of human civilization. I'm not saying just in China, everywhere. All right? So I'll just want to show you, but we are not going to talk about, unfortunately, in this course. We know Buddha, Mahavir, all right? Of course, being in this culture, no chocolate for you. You must know, right? Okay? This. Somebody said Kabir. This might earn you a chocolate if you answer. Yes? Sorry? Saint Thomas. Saint Thomas Aquinas is a very, yeah. Sorry? Amir Khusro, no, okay. Maybe you are not familiar. That is a hard problem. But hint is, he is the most widely read poet. Right. Okay, see. All right, you get a chocolate. Okay. Believe it or not, he beats Shakespeare to being a being a popularity in poetry. But it's not his poetry. It's his ethical principles. And you know why he's so popular? Because one of the main ethical principles that he talks about is love. Right? Of course, it's many different shades of love he talks about. But, so I have now come to Middle East, right? Let me go a little eastern. This is even harder to tell you. Anybody? That's why we are not familiar with many of the. This is, sorry? I wanted one woman ethicist in this panel. That's why I chose. Okay. This is Rabia of Bisra. Right. Somebody knew it, right? But you might not have seen the picture. She is a great Sufi saint. In fact, we have a whole tradition of sainthood in all Eastern cultures normally. Right? Of course, in the Christian culture also there is sainthood, Rabia. She is, for example, the story that goes for Rabia is she used to, in Basra, now it's Bisra, now it's called Basra, earlier it used to be called Bisra. She used to move around the streets of Basra with one torch in hand and one bucket of water and running around. So people would ask you, why are you doing that? Where are you going? With a torch and a bucket of water. She said the torch is to light the heavens, okay? And for the water is to quench the fire in hell. Why do you want to do that? He said, because everybody loves God only because they avoid hell and want to go to heaven. They don't love God, or God, by God I mean righteous path or righteous living for the sake of it. It's only to avoid punishment. Hell is punishment in all cultures, and heaven is reward. So the fact that ethics is not for punishment, fear of punishment, or love of rewards. She was preaching that. We'll probably have occasions to talk about it. All right? Okay. These three. Now I have come from Eastern cultures to, I've crossed Suez Canal or Euphrates River. Right? Most people know that, right? Who is who? Oh, it is written there. Sorry, the figure is written there. They and the culture that they represent is really the foundation of Western civilization. Okay? So once you have crossed Suez Canal, it's a different kind of ethics a little bit. Okay? But quite because of the popularity of Western civilization, okay, it's studied as a discipline, a separate discipline with its foundations in Greeks. Okay? All right. You wouldn't know this. Anybody? Okay. I wouldn't. Yes? Benjamin? Benjamin Franklin. You are very familiar with American. Right? Yeah. He does look like Benjamin, I must say that. Okay, but he's not. Okay. So anyway, names are not important because we are not going to talk about them. But yes, in the Western civilization, these figures became in the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries, foundations of ethical thinking. Okay? This is John Stuart Mill and Jeremy Bentham. Okay, these names might come. You knew it. Okay, all right. Now the beard is gone, you can see. Okay. All earlier, I had a long beard. Now the beard is gone. Why is that? This is David Hume, an English philosopher. Okay? And anybody knows the last person, he'll get a chocolate. Yes? Sorry? No? All right. Anybody? Yes? Sorry? So Emmanuel? Emmanuel? Can't go. Can't. Correct. Okay. Please get, oh, your second chocolate. No, no, you're only here. Okay. All right. So these are the people who have at the base, some of their names we are not going to discuss, but instructor might drop in lightly, okay, during our discussion, because they form the foundation of ethical thinking of Western civilization. All right? All right. So we are not going to discuss them. This is under the title, what this course is not. But where does many of our ethical principles come from? In school, you might have done Subhashitani, right? Many of the North India, I don't know what it's called in South India, but Subhashita. We have a huge book in Indian called Subhashitam Ratnakar, okay, where all the good codes to live are compiled. All right? I have just picked up a random one. Now, this is in Devanagari script. Some people might not know it Devanagari script, so I put the same thing in English script, and then the translation. Okay, in some texts. Okay, so now a chocolate-worthy question. What are the two blanks? Yes. Vinayam. And the second one? Since it is Vinayam, the second one would be Vinayat. Okay. All right. So please get a chocolate. Right? So all right. Vidya. In fact, the way I learned also Vidya Dadati Vinayam. Okay. So, and the next one is, so these are the sorts of things that we have learned from ethical sources. Now, how many Vinayas are there here? Vinay? 1, 2, Vinay? 3. Yes, I knew. I checked. Right? 3 Vinayas. Okay. Okay. So that's kind of, that's wisdom. Okay. So in fact, there is another couplet which says, in fact, both in Tulsidas Ramayana and in Subhashitani, that like a fruit-laden tree, okay, bows down. If it has lots of fruits, its top comes down. Okay. And if you have lots of Vidya, so people whom you know are haughty, you know Vidya is not there. Right? So many of these we have actually learned. These are some of the sources. We will actually look at that in some of our discussions. Okay? Now, chocolate-worthy question. This sloka is from Hitopadesha. Now, who wrote Hitopadesha? Back, yes, yes. Sorry? Narayan Pandit. That's right. Chocolate, right? Please collect chocolate. Much before that, actually, Hitopadesh is written by on the cover of a book much earlier. And what is that? Panchatantra. Okay? So we had those animal stories in which we talk about, and who wrote Panchatantra? Vishnu Sharma. Correct. Okay? But at the moment, there's only one per slide. Chocolate. All right? Okay. So I'm just trying to tell you, the kinds of things are there. We will not be discussing, but this will be implicit in our discussions. All right? Okay. Now, let me come to ethical environment. What is ethical environment? We are not talking about ethics really in this course, okay? Because we are not going into theory of ethics. We are not going to study the volumes that these people have written, and people study still, and their whole department just study that, right? And these days there are more ethics studies. Why? Because there are more unethical things, right? So there are more professors studying ethics, and especially, for example, AI ethics, right? Or why does hordes of drone carry food and medicine, and more often than not, bombs? Okay. So technology gives you drones, but drones can carry medicines and food to hungry people, but sometimes hungry people looking for bread also get bullets. So there is lot to despair in the world, but there is lot to hope, and hope is ultimately in the building block of our thinking, and that's the effort, right? So it depends upon the ethical environment. Let's see, what does it, so it's a climate of ideas. It's not just one idea this, one idea that, one thinker, okay? So we know what is acceptable or unacceptable, right? Where does it come from? I think, this is not acceptable. This behavior is unacceptable, right? Or this happening is acceptable and unacceptable. I will not give you examples. I've taken a lot of time. Admirable, something that you admire, okay? And contemptible. Okay, we immediately respond to that. This all belongs to, there's some deep ethical concerns, all right? Pride or shame, okay? When my country wins, I feel proud, okay? And if something happens, I will not name, then we are all feel ashamed. Or personally, socially, as a country, as a humanity, there are occasions to feel proud and there are occasions to feel shame. Why? What is the source? Okay? Where that comes from? Anger and gratitude, right? You feel angry. Many people have anger problem these days, I believe. And you feel gratitude for having done things. What is to be forgiven? You feel hurt, but you let it go. And what is, but if you let everything go, then there is a problem, right? And what is not to be forgiven? Where do these ideas come from? Right? That belongs to the ethical climate. What is due to us? What is my right? And what is due from us? Okay? All this we already are thinking, right? We already know. I'm just telling you the expanse of an ethical environment. Okay? And of course, the last one is the how we live is how we relate to each other. We are very social animals, if I can call it under quotes. How we relate to each other. These are big questions, and that is why some of the best minds are worried about it. We also worry about it, okay? We worry about it. So what does this mean? The standards of behavior. Where do I get my standard of behavior? Okay, who sets it? I can't tell you. Okay, or should I follow a book? Or where does the standard come from? This is emotional response to happenings with others, right? That is also ethical basis. Okay? What is due to us and what is due from us is a sense of rights, justice, and fairness. So an ethical climate actually includes these three things. These are questions in detail, but these are the things that it really, any question you can ask now. All right, so how to live and conceptions of behavior, emotional response, sense of justice and fairness, these are parts of ethical climate, and we will be deeply worried about this in this course. How? But in other words, it shapes our very identities. Okay, how you be, what standards of behavior you have, okay, and all that is actually going to shape your very identity. Okay? Now, in this course, what are we going to do? We are not going to about these deep thinkers. We'll require a lifetime to study them. In this course, our focus is you, self. Okay? You will worry about yourself. no text. Okay, how? So your own life goals and in academics and your ultimate ambition. You should have occasion to worry about that in this course. I'll say how. The technology, these days, does your mobile control you or you control the mobile? Who is the master, who is the slave? What do you think? Sometimes mobile, sometimes, right, the master-slave situation. Okay, tech. So is tech driving somewhere on its own internal logic and which we can't control or cannot control? That's an issue that will come up. Okay, and now all tech is into AI. Okay. How often do you use big LLMs these days? Perplexity.ai is free for all IIT, I believe. Right? Have you started using it? No, good. But we know soon you will start using it for good, for bad, for both. Okay? And of course, the biggest crisis that mankind faces is an ethical problem, is not a technical problem, and that's environment. We'll talk about that also. Okay. I think it's a biggest collective problem both at the personal level and at the societal level. We'll have occasions to talk about that. We don't have chapters in this course, but we have called modules of units, right? Typically 1 week or 1.5 weeks we'll devote to most of these. Profession. You have come here to go to a profession, and each profession has an ethical conduct, right? How do I decide whether in my profession I'm doing the right thing? We'll worry about that. We all have come from very different background. I know each of you, to be able to succeed in JEE, you have had very different struggles. Okay, because we come from very diverse backgrounds. By diverse background, I mean diversity in everything. India is actually a very, very diverse country. How to handle that diversity? Diversity of opinion, diversity of life experiences, diversity, we'll worry about that. In gender, race, okay? So there will be chapters and discussion. There will be one on gender probably right here, okay? Because it's a very big, or diversity in general, all right? Social structures around us. We get used to too much of, okay? Sometimes we don't even look at. We are trained to not to look at many things, okay, to feel ethically comfortable in our comforts, okay, but which some people get worried about and will also worry about this. So this looks like very neat modules, but you as a self, you already have many opinions about these. Now the question is, how did you get those views? Okay, actually if you see that, if you look at all these views is like a jumble, is like a wool gone, okay. So the whole course is to some attempt to unjumble that, okay, to some extent. Not one course cannot do this. This is a lifetime's journey. But yes, some attempt to unjumble, that is what we'll do. But the focus is really self, you. No book, no thinker. The course is about you. You understand that, right? How do you do it? In this jumble of principles, goals, pulls, and pressures comes the ethical dilemmas. Sometimes you implicitly choose, sometimes you explicitly choose, okay? The question is, can I now reflect, okay, to be able to do that, all right? Is there a system, a map, a compass, not a rule? Do this, do that. Don't lie. Okay, it's the simplest. Honesty is the best policy. Very easily said. Right? Then actually, so things like that. So a code of conduct doesn't really work. But you should have the ability to be able to see where is the map. Okay, in this. So that we'll try and look at it. How? You can ask questions first to find out clearly what is actually being asked. and then you ask what sort of answers are acceptable. This is a quote. Name the person who could have said this. Chocolate worthy. Yes? Guess. Yes? Huh? Oppenheimer. Another attempt? Yes? Sorry? Sorry? Socrates. Okay, right answer. Chocolate. In fact, the method is called the Socratic method. Okay? So we are not looking for answers. We are just looking to analyze the questions from one question to another question. That's how science proceeds. Science has no ultimate answer. All right? So this is called the Socratic method. Okay? And it is indeed Socrates. This is not only in the Western civilization. In our civilization, questioning, for example, Vedanta is Upanishads. You know what is Upanishads? Go and sit down near the master. That's Upanishad means sitting down next. And then asking questions. There is one Upanishad called Prashnopanishad itself, right? Or one of the most famous, okay, Kathopanishad, in which you go and ask question to Yama. Nachiketa goes and asks the secrets of life and death to Yama. And whole of Upanishads, which is Vedanta, which is the essential of Vedas, are all question-answer sessions. Okay, so we have a great tradition. Or Sankara. Sankara going and having a debate with Mundan Mishra when he became famous in Varanasi. Okay, so we had to do Sastrarth. Okay, that is one to be able to do that. So that's also, so every civilization has had this tradition. Of course, now it's called Socratic method because it's become the foundation in some sense of the Western civilization. All right? So this is the method that you are going to follow. We are not going to give you any solution because we have none. Right? I might have found in some situation myself, but I can't give that to you. Right? So this is not transferable. Right? But maybe the method is transferable. The method of looking at it. Right? So no code of conduct, no solutions, but moving from a set of questions to a better set of questions. Now, what is a better set of questions? How do I know it is a better set of questions? Questions are, but what is a better set of questions? Logically sound. A lot of mathematics is logically sound. Right? But, yeah, there are standards, but we'll see that. We'll discuss that in the course. I think I'm getting late for what I want to say. So ask questions and figure out what is actually being asked, and you ask what sort of answers are acceptable. That is important. You need not, you generate a spectrum of answers and then evaluate from some standards. Okay? And that we are going to do, not solutions. All right? Okay, so that's what the course is. First thing is, this course has no tests. Right? All right. Because no exam or quiz in this course. All right? So because I want you to enjoy the course. Okay. But, there is always a but. But what? They know it. All right. So we need your attention, not attendance. Attendance is physical. You can come in there and go to sleep. We will not allow that. We need your attention. All right? And we need your participation in classwork and discussion. Because there is no lecture in this course. The instructor has come to listen to you. Only today I am speaking. But most of the other sessions, the instructor would be there to listen to you. Okay? So participation is very, very important. there will be one in-class task, in the class, no home assignment, okay, in which you have to do some task, write up maybe something, and then you have to speak about it for 2-3 minutes. That is the only evaluative component, but it is in class. All right? No background reading, no homework, no home reading, everything, right? The attendance policy is 100%, right? We have kept 15% margin for the regular leave that you can take, right? So leave doesn't come on top of that. So within 15%, okay, you can have emergencies, you can fall sick, right? Okay, so only for those cases. So having permission of DOA to go on leave or not attending class is included in that 15%, is not on top of that. So to pass this course, you would require minimum attendance. Attention, of course, we'll look at, right? So that is the, all right. No textbook, of course, I told you. There's no textbook either. Impossible to find a textbook. So what is it that we will go to do? Case studies. We'll simulate some life situations which are close to your life, okay? And then we'll discuss those cases. In fact, case studies is very, very, every literature that you have you read literature? Okay, every book of literature is a case study. Every good movie, I'm saying good movie, not, right, is a case study of ethical principles, okay? And hence, this course is really discussing case studies close to your lived experience, not just some arbitrary class for logical reasons, because you are the focus, all right? So it's, what is the takeaway then from the course? Is a toolbox of thinking yourself, arguing with others, and most important, expressing yourself. We should learn how to express your arguments well. That's also a part of the training in this course. All right? It will come in very handy. So thinking, arguing, and expressing. What are the prerequisites? Yes? Attention, prerequisite. That's a part of the class. No prerequisites? Yes? Sorry? Enthusiasm. Good. That's for all, everything here. Okay. The prerequisite is you have to open up. While preparing for JEE and all that, you have too long been bottled up. Agree? So you need to open up. Okay? Like, really open up. And then what do you do with opening up? Empty it. You have been stuffed with too many things. Okay? So new ideas will come only when you empty yourself a little bit. Right? There is a story about a Zen master, Nanin. All right? Where a university professor goes to, is a Zen master in Japan, in Meiji era. A university professor goes to figure out his art. So he goes and then sits down, and Nanin, he's a very famous, one of the most famous Zen master, he pours tea to the cup of this university professor. And he keeps pouring. The cup is full. The tea goes, and he keeps pouring. And the tea flows and goes to the robe of the professor. And then the professor couldn't take it. What are you doing? The cup is full, can't you see? The Zen master says, why have you come to me? As a professor, you are too full. Right? If you want to learn Zen, you have to first empty yourself. All the preconceptions, all the concepts, unless you empty, I cannot give you anything new. So similarly, in your ethical training, there's maybe a lot to open up and empty yourself. All right? Okay. So your cup runneth over, right? In some sense. Okay, that's the prerequisite. You have to open up. We are very argumentative, right? You have seen this book before? Any of you? We Indians are very argumentative, right? This is Amartya Sen's book on the argumentative Indian. So in this course, as I said, we'll be doing a lot of arguing, right? One of the methods will be arguing. And we are already very argumentative, right? But there is an art to argument. You know that? What is it called? The art of argumentation? Debate. That is a discipline, almost. Yes? Diplomacy is all failing now. It's called rhetoric. Okay? And again, the person who made it a discipline is Aristotle. He said any art of persuasion has three components. Logos, biology, everything is a logi, comes from logos, logic. There must be logic, structure of the speech, ethos, meaning that must be from some credible source, trust. The speaker must have some credible credentials, ethos, and pathos. Pathos meaning emotions. There must be emotion, otherwise you will not be able to persuade me, just with logic. Okay? So lots of very good speakers, politicians often practice this, except that quite often they don't have this. They have a lot of ethos and a lot of pathos, okay, without the logic or logic. Okay? But, so you have to learn to do this. All right? All right. So, so that's called rhetoric. So a part of every ethics teacher also has a rhetoric. We do it by couplets, okay? And the Greeks did it this way. So this, what is called the architecture of arguments. I just give you one slide summary of this whole discipline called rhetoric because we are going to use it. All right? There are only two kinds of arguments really. One is of argument of fact. Okay? Is it a fact or not? And that is arguing that something exists. Virus, electron. Have you heard of Higgs boson? Does it exist? All right. Kalpataru, Airabat. Does a tannery in Kanpur is discharging material into Ganga? Whether it's fact or not, you have to figure out. Then you have to find out definition. Is that what is discharging, is it lawful or according to some standards? That's an argument of fact. All right? And then does it follow the quality norms that have been given? So these are all arguments of fact. So while listening to somebody else's argument, you have to quickly analyze that. Right? That's argument of fact. The other is argument to act. That is a separate. Okay? That is something good. It is good to be in IIT for education. Okay? And then, hence I should try to do that. Or, is useful. Is good to be in IIT, is useful to an IIT are two different questions. But both are arguments to act. All right? Okay. So, so what to expect in this course? I've told you what is in this course. In this course is, of course, I told you it's self-discovery. You have to discover your own thinking. Call it Atma Chintan, Atma Anveshan, Atma Sandhan, okay? Any name you can give. All right? So, by what? By listening to others with empathy and patience. You have to listen. If you are too full, then you will not. All right? You have to examining critically. That is a word which is of most important to us. Critical examination. What does it mean to examine something critically? All right? And then, reformulating your own views. That's what it's about. All right? So, reformulating what? Guides to my action. So, the whole course is about to conduct productive dialogues among ourselves. Is it clear? Okay, I'll take a couple of minutes more But before that, let's have a quick poll. Your Acadly, please log into your Acadly. You must have logged into Acadly. Yes. So I have seen some comments here. Okay, so that's sorry, what happened to my in-class? Just a minute. In-class activities. I don't see the. Sorry, I don't know why it is not showing up the. Okay, I'm sorry, I had created it, but now I can't see it. In-class activity, 2 of them is saying, asking me to create now. There is some problem with this version of. Anyway, we'll forget about it. Okay, so I'll give it as a poll later. Actually, the poll was to figure out the numbers. Okay, whether you are happy today, this morning, good, or okay, or not so okay. So, you have created, yeah. Publish it, but why is it not showing up here? Let me. I wanted to. I don't know why is it not showing up in this web version. Maybe my this version will have it. Sometimes in the web version there is a. Okay. Oh, Academy is actually very web this friendly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Publish. Okay. One of them is published. Please respond. Few seconds. The other one. It's too much of. I also wanted to do an experiment a little bit. Okay, so let that be one only. I had another about hostel living, but that's I'll go through. So have you done that now? All right, we'll look at the results. We'll look at the results. All right? तो ये चला दीजिए ये यहाँ पर ये नहीं ये प्रेजेंटेशन नहीं चल रहा ना ये हाँ पेज तो यही है हाँ okay all right so please respond to that. I'll have a look at that. I don't know, we have too less time. It is working. Yeah, I wanted to display that number. That not here, but I have to. Okay, all right. Now, quick 5 minutes of in ethics course. That was some ethics advice. We normally don't give advice, but this is the only lecture in which I give some quick advice. All right, and then we'll come to question and answer. You have come to a place where an academic campus in which integrity is the key thing in any academic place, academic integrity. Okay? I'm not saying that we are 100%, but certainly if IITs are IITs different from other institutions because there is a high degree of academic integrity. So now we have to belong to that community, right? So that is very, very important. You will like to see that. I'll go through quickly. Have you seen this? Familiar with this picture? Can you build a nation on the foundations of such things? And it's not, it's an old picture, but it's going on even today. The examination leaks, you know, is one of the major problems of this country at the moment, right? And what that come from? We'll not analyze that in this case. What is right? Of course, that's the question the whole course asks. Even when I stand to lose, even when it is not easy, even when nobody is watching, right? That is what we are looking for to understand what is right. Choosing thoughts and actions, okay, towards that. Cheating. Do I have to define cheating? How is it that we know what cheating is? We know and feel it instinctively, right? The sources of ethics are ticking, the conscience, okay? Pretending as my work, falsifying data, lying for gain, this is very common, even in academic institutes, all right? Selling the soul, can I sleep well? Right? That's the question. What is not cheating? Normally it is clear, but sometimes people say, sir, I didn't know that this is considered cheating. But we will help you with that. I will not go with that. How many people have now come to live in a hostel new? There are lots of people who go to hostels, many. Or most people have lived in a hostel in JEE preparation. Okay. So you'll have to, even in your hostel, you'll have to handle bullies. There are always. In any class I take, there are bullies, right? So handling bullies, dealing with friends, life is like that. The world as it is, warts and imperfections, how to deal with it. It's not an ideal world. This world is not made for you, right? And still you have to go through it. Creativity. In academic institution, in science, in any discipline, creativity is the key. But creativity in falsifying. Okay, so this is data. This data is outside the theory. Just remove it, erase it. That's called manipulation, editing, right? So today, data is deity, but you have to be ethical with data. That's one of the main, so the lab reports are all available in the hall Xerox centers. And I also have a copy, right? So if you take the data from your Xerox center, your hall, I know when you have done, right? Your chemistry exam, did you know the salt or you found out in the exam? Or you never took the exam and got a grade? In many schools, you don't take the exam, right? The external is sitting somewhere having chai, right? And the internals know what marks you get. That's the status of academic integrity in our schools. All right? So we have been sort of trained in our culture to fake, forge, and it requires a lot of unlearning. Okay? The worst crime anywhere, especially in science, can ruin individuals, organizations, countries, and even civilization if you are not ethical with the data. As I said, data is not God, but data is deity. Data plus wisdom is God. All right? Okay, so group projects, you will do lots of group projects. Only one fellow, he's a nerd, he'll get, and the others enjoying. Right? This happens. I will not. In your first mid-sem, okay, you will have this. This is a copy of the exam copy that you will see, that you will be given. And there, in the first page, is written, I pledge my honor as a gentleman/lady that during the examination I have neither given assistance nor received assistance. In every exam, you have to put a signature, right? That I am not doing it. All right? And professors hate, if they hate one thing, they hate to be detectives, to figure out whether people are cheating or not, right? We will discuss this through case studies in our course. What are the common triggers for doing this? Is stress to keep up. Most people would, there are many reasons that will come up in our discussion. Or greed to get ahead. Right? Some gain if I can get. And many people say, sab log kar rahe hain. Everybody is doing it. So chalta hai. Right? These triggers. So these triggers goes in the face of, okay, what we know. And it'll look, okay. All right. Of course, one of the biggest problems in academics is plagiarism. Okay? And now it is so easy. With all the chat GPTs and Perplexity, Grok, or whatever not. Right? Codes, we'll have case studies to do that. So I will not have time to discuss this, we'll do that. The last chocolate question. Where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. What is the first line of this poem? Yes. Okay. Okay. So please collect. This is the last chocolate question. All right? So this is a poem in your textbook probably, right? Have you read this? No? Chitto jatha bhoy shunno. That's in Bengali. Right? This is a translation.